Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this chat, this cast interview with Jay Oxenham, who is. Well, who are you in the show? Let's start off with that. Welcome to these little chats. Who do you play in the show?
I play Thomas Walters, who's the general manager for Kiltech Industries.
And talk to me a little bit about how you started. Or how did you get into acting in the first place?
Well, basically, I'm predominantly a singer. That's what I am. I play piano and sing, and it was through that got me into acting. I've done a lot of Rat Pack shows, playing Frank Sinatra, obviously without the beard. And it was through those shows that got me more into acting, really. I love both. I love singing, I love acting. I love both equally as much, I think, to be honest with you.
So would you say you're a singer rather than a musician?
No, I would say I'm both.
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm a singing musician, yeah.
Right, okay. And so how did you get into music? What was the first thing that kind of got you in there?
It wasn't by choice. It was my father. He was a pianist. First of all, I started off on violin for some reason at 6. But of course, my father, being a pianist, I wanted to play piano. But yeah, he just at 8 years old, it was bam, in you go.
I had a similar thing because my dad liked jazz and could clearly see that I was somewhat interested in music and sort of signed me up for trumpet. And I didn't get on with it at all. Brass instruments, that's a whole video could be made about how bad brass instruments are to learn. What sort of music stuff have you done beyond the kind of the Brat Pack stuff?
Well, I like playing a lot of modern contemporary stuff on the piano. People like Ludovico Einaudi. I do like playing a lot of classical as well. So quite an eclectic sort of taste in music I have.
Do you think you would have got into classical music had it not been for the choice of instrument?
Yes, I think so, because my father obviously plays.
Right.
That I got my influence from him, really. So I think I'd have still liked classical either way. You know, my all my family's really quite musical. My brother played trumpet, guitar,
right, okay,
saxophone. So my nan played.
So did you go? What was it that then drove you into live performance? Was that something you wanted to do, or was it just a course of, well, I do this now, so I have to do performance?
No, it was. I mean, I love to sing. I always have done, and it was a choice of mine to go into singing because I had a burning desire to sing. You know, playing the pianos. I like playing the piano, but I wanted to get my voice out there. I like to be I do like to be up in front, if that makes sense.
It's very weird because I came from a very similar position to that I really like to sing, and there was nobody else to sing with, and that's why I started playing guitar.
Right, okay.
Which was an interesting kind of point, you know, where you try and take control of what you're doing, but you didn't go that same route. You were pushed into playing the piano by the sound.
Yeah. Sometimes kicking and screaming. Yeah, when I didn't want to go to times, but locking myself in the toilet. But it paid off in the long run.
It sounds like it. So what was your first foray into acting then? When was the first time that you made that switch between just music and then acting as well?
So that was, when would that have been? 2001 at the Corn Exchange Theatre in Newbury. Did a variety show there. That was a lot of fun.
So you didn't do anything when you were in school, or was that not something that you would?
No, I absolutely loved. I mean, my two favourite classes in school were art and drama. Drama being my favourite. And I remember one of my drama teacher actually said to my mother once, "Oh, he dies wonderfully." So
so good for a murder mystery show then.
Absolutely perfect. Yeah, perfect. I was always.
So the Corn Exchange then, what was it, and how did you get into that in the first place?
That was an amateur dramatics play. So that was advertised actually in the local paper, and I just saw it there, and I thought, you know what, that'd be a bit of fun. I'll try a bit of that. I'm not getting paid for it, but I don't mind. It'll be a bit of fun, and it'll be just straight acting. So yeah, that's where it all started from. Yeah.
So was it ever anything that you thought, oh well, I could have a career in this, or has it always been sort of a side thing, or is it just,
no, it was I wanted to be an actor from when I was at school.
Right.
I really did want to be an actor while I was in school. I loved drama that much. I was going to go on and do my A-levels, and I wanted to go to university, or I wanted to go to drama school. And unfortunately, things didn't happen that way for one reason or another, which I won't bore you with. But
well, I mean, this is your interview. What did happen? How did you get out of it in the first place? And
well, there was all I can say. There was quite a few tumultuous years there that led me down a different path.
And we all have them, I think, don't we?
We
all have those moments.
So I always wanted to act, and I've always wanted to perform. So that's why the piano and singing. And I think if I could go back and change those few things that sent me off on a different path, then I definitely would do. Yeah, I would have. Yeah, I'd have carried on. And
So when you first then got into it, you said you'd sort of give it a go. Was there anything more behind that than giving it a go, or did you think, well, maybe this will lead to anything else, or was it just
no, it was just because I wanted to do it. It was just, to me, I suppose it's the kid in me. It's all about dressing up and being somebody else, and I've always just loved doing that. It's like when I play with my children, I can just be a 10-year-old again. It's.
And what was that first show that you did?
It was the Newbury Variety. It was called the Newbury Variety Show. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so it was basically split into two halves. So the first half of the show was people basically showing their talents. The second half of the show was an actual story. It was an actual theatre production. So it was quite a good show, actually.
And you got involved in both, or just the?
Oh yeah, in both. Yeah. I played a Italian gigolo in one scene, and then I played an Australian guy in the outback in another scene, and then a juggler in some Arabian bazaar in another scene. So it's really good fun.
So from there on, was it just a case of, oh well, I know these people now and they're doing this thing next and I'm going to be a part of it, or did you then hunt out other things that were going on?
Well, it was more my music that took me back into theatres, really. Like I say, doing the Rat Pack shows, and that took me theatres all over the place, really, absolutely all over Europe and Arab Emirates and cruise ship theatres, and so it was that took me back into theatre, doing those specific shows. That's what got me back into it. And
you did the music for the Viral Murders as well, which we will have used on this interview. How did you find doing that? Well, was there anything that went wrong? Because those are the bits that people want to know about.
The bits that go wrong, technical issues sometimes. I had a serious problem at one point with one of the Macs. It just died on me, which was, that was quite a panic moment. But today, I mean, it's so different from when I was 17, 18. I remember I bought a keyboard that had a sampler and drum machine in it. Yeah. Fantastic bit of kit. Wasn't, because I had to take it back about 5 times because it kept going wrong and it was terrible.
That was always I remember when MIDI files became a big thing, and then all of a sudden you could have, if you had a decent enough keyboard, you could have that playing on your computer through a MIDI connection, and then record that, and suddenly you had a backing track, and it was the most amazing thing in the world. But that was a long time ago.
I mean, crikey. So now with today's technology, putting music together is so much cleaner, and it takes so much less time. I mean, it still took me well over a week of every single day working on it to put it all together. Trying different things, but that's the beauty of it. Now you can just go, right, well, I'm going to slot this in now. I'll try this bit, add that in. Yeah, that sounds right. Well, let's move that over there. Let's change this. Let's change that. It's so much easier and more enjoyable, actually, I think, to put music together now.
So is that your process? Is it very much a kind of a, well, let's just try this here and try that there?
Yeah.
Or do you try and sort of think about, well, this is the kind of the main composition, and then by the time I get to the end of that, I'm going to add in other bits onto it?
It's more literally piecing bits together for me. When I got the brief of what they were looking for, Music wise, they said, well, we want this, we want this, we want this, something around this. And I'm like, right, okay, I think I'm getting a good idea. And then it's just a case of you get the bass line down first and then add everything else around it. Mm-hmm. And it is, for me, just a sort of exercise of discovery, really.
And is this, scoring for stuff, is it something you'd like to do more of in the future? Have you done it before?
No, well, not for anything like this, not at all. No, definitely not. Only for more. I mean, I've had some tunes played in nightclubs before, many years ago. That was quite fun, yeah. But that's it. I haven't done any scores for any plays or anything like that. No, this was my first. Yeah.
But you'd like to do sort of more of
it.
You'd like to
go definitely. Again. Yeah, definitely.
So tell me a little bit about what you think about the creative arts in general. What do you think the creative arts have brought to your life?
Oh, crikey. I mean, they haven't brought so much to my life. They are my life, really. That's, the creative arts are a part of me. Yeah, 100%. With this last year, it's been really quite tough not being able to do my normal stuff. Mm-hmm. Whilst this job that's come along has been fantastic. I really enjoyed it. Really, really enjoyed it. It's been, the recordings have been such fun. And it's certainly, it's certainly been it lifted me definitely in quite a bad low point, to be fair, in this past year. So it's again,
it has been really difficult. And one of the things that I quite like about what we've done here is that instead of sort of waiting around for something to happen, we've kind of made something happen. And where do you think we can go as an industry right now without saying, well, we want the government to do something, which, let's face it, it's probably never going to happen, or we want this thing to. Where can individuals go and actually start to kind of push creative industries back into where they should be?
Wow, I mean, that's a really difficult question. Where do I start with that one? Personally, for me, it's a case of waiting for this to pass a little bit before I truly know where I can push myself again, because we're so severely restricted. However, this sort of thing is fantastic. We wouldn't have been able to do this some years ago, anything like this at all.
Do you think people will take the lessons that they've learned from doing stuff online and then will use that in newer productions going forward, or do you think it's going to die out a little bit?
I don't know. I think it's going to open a lot of people's eyes to how you can put something together. Definitely, rather than people thinking, right, I've got to go into a studio, or when people can see that actually there are ways around it. And you can put a fantastic production together, even with the limitations that we have had. I think, everybody's done a stellar job. Yeah, absolutely.
Tell me a little bit about actually working on the Viral Murders. How do you feel about your character? In fact, tell me a little bit about your character as well.
So, Thomas Walters, well, yeah, he's the kind of guy who, the way I see him, is he was sort of... he went to public school, but actually he wasn't that bright and still isn't that bright.
Right.
But so he plays on his background in that sense, and he plays on.
So do you think he's benefited from the Peter principle? Do you know what the Peter principle is?
No, please explain.
Okay, the Peter principle is that somebody who is incompetent will rise up through the ranks of a company just because people will need to get rid of them, so they push them up as opposed to pushing them out.
Okay, right.
So that's why you find a lot of people in mid-management and higher management who are arguably useless at their job. But yeah, they've still managed to get there. So do you think he's one of those sort of people? He's got some connections, but he's...
Yeah, I think he has, but I think he's a bit more shrewd than that. He's not bright.
Right.
But he's a bit of a crook, and he knows how to get things done.
Right.
And that's the way I see him. So he is sly like a fox.
Yeah.
Not very clever. That makes sense.
How do you feel? How do you think he felt when he woke up and he didn't have his memory?
Wow. I would say he was like a rabbit in the headlights, to be honest. Mm-hmm. And I think that's why he's been quite quiet in the beginning. not too vocal as the other characters, because he's just sitting back and thinking, what on earth is going on here? And I think he just feels completely out of his depth.
Sure.
You know, he's a control freak at the end of the day. He's definitely a control freak. Yeah. So, yeah.
So finally, I suppose, let's talk about the end of the production itself. What advice would you give about doing this sort of thing if people wanted to do it themselves? What have you found if from the process that you thought, oh, actually, maybe I'll do that in the next time I do something? Or
well, first thing, if someone's first needing to get into it, is get yourself a decent mic. It's the first thing I would say.
That's very true.
And what other advice could I give? If you're just getting into it, I think you just got to be prepared to try anything. You know? I think really, just let yourself go and have fun with it. Yeah, definitely.
Jay, thank you very, very much for coming along today. Please, if you have enjoyed this interview, please do like, share, comment and subscribe. Make sure you hit the little bell icon when you subscribe and the all notifications tag as well. That's it for this particular interview. We will see you next time with another cast interview on the Viral Murders. Good night.
Good night.